to all the issues. Lord, keep me from going mental. Help me sure the bed ain't simple and stay woke on instrumentals.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CHH Hysteria, a podcast for CHH about everything CHH. I'm your host, Cole.
And I'm your co-host, Cooper.
And today we are giving our thoughts on Hulvey's debut album, Christopher. Super hyped about it. It's been actually not that long time coming, but it's been a long time coming. We want to give you the pros and cons of the album, as well as just some general thoughts, what we thought about it. And before we get into the album review, we just want to let you guys know that at 100 subscribers, which at the time we're recording this video are like 72, so we're pretty close. We're going to be giving away a piece of merch, so be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Share with your friends, tell them to subscribe so you can get the merch sooner. Anyways, Cooper, do you want to start us off with some of the things that you enjoyed about this album?
So some of the things that I liked about Christopher was length. So it was a really good length. It's in that sweet spot of like 35 to 40 minutes, at like 36 minutes, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
That you want an album to be at. So it's a really good length. Pretty easy to listen through, stuff like that. And it's its own separate entity from Broken Heart. So it's not Broken Heart Part 2. Like, some artists struggle with just making similar music over and over and over again, and it gets really stale, and it just doesn't really do much for you. Whereas with this, it shows that Hulvey isn't gonna, or at least doesn't plan on doing it, which is very good, and it'll extend his success a lot longer. And then it's very upfront, like it's in your face about how he's Christian, and this is how events have shaped him and stuff like that in his relationship with God.
So yeah, for my pros, like honestly, the album cover. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to talk about. Big shout out to Kevin Hackett who made the album cover. So I'm weird in the sense that like a really really good album cover can make a really good song a little bit better, because like it's super dope when I open up my phone to this really good song and it has this dope album cover. Like it just makes it that much better. I'm obsessed with the album cover, so that's huge shout out. I love it. But then also, kind of what you said about the, like it's in your face of how he's Christian, but like not in like a in your face in a bad way about Christian, that he's a Christian. Kind of like when I was listening to the album, you can really see Hulvey's heart for God in this project so much. And that's something I appreciate about Hulvey, because you could also see it on Broken Heart. But like this as like a full-length album, and he still got that. It's a whole CHH project that the sole focus is Christ, and like we don't get that as much anymore in CHH. And obviously that's not all around a bad thing. You know, like it is really refreshing to have a CHH project where everything is about Jesus, and that's all it's about. So that's super dope, and I love that. And then also to kind of go with that is that the songs still sound really good. Personally, like I kind of see the album in like two sections. You have like the first 5 songs interlude, and then there's like the last few songs. And like the first few songs are like all like hits, you know? Like, you know, radio hits like Reason. So that's like gonna be giant on CCM radio, like, which is a good thing for Hulvey. And it's a really good song overall. I really like Lecrae's verse of that song. But my personal 2 favorite songs gotta be Ninth Grade and Cold Nights. Those songs are so good. Okay, Ninth Grade, it makes me want to like drive around in my car. My 2005 Ford Focus, shout out Hulvey. It makes me want to drive around and just listen to that full blast on repeat for like 5 hours. You know, it's like one of those songs, and I'm here for it. And like, it's also like, Hulvey could drop a whole pop album and I wouldn't even be mad. Like that's how good the song was. I love it. I have like 60 some plays on it already. But so yeah, those are my 2 favorite songs. The intro was really well done. I love the intro. I personally like, you know, I feel like the intro is cool because it switches beats and you're like, wait, is this the same song, you know? And I'm personally like a bigger fan of the first beat. But I'm curious, which one do you like better? Like I like them both. They're both fantastic, but
I think I definitely prefer the first beat. I believe that was trap, like more trappy, right?
Right, yeah.
So I definitely prefer that one because I just like that style of beat more.
Yeah. So like the album has a lot going for it, and it's a really good debut. I mean, we've been waiting. Let's see. So Reach announced that he was signed on like 1/16 day of 2020, right? Or maybe like so. Shortly after. Either way, it was around that time, so it was like January 2020, and then we got 2 projects shortly after, 2 EPs, and we released a few singles. So he did a lot in 2020. But I'm super hyped that, you know, he dropped a full-length project and didn't just continue with the EPs, because this is fantastic. Kind of moving away from like the things that we really enjoyed about the album and to the things that we didn't enjoy as much. Cooper, do you want to go off and say some things that you didn't like as much?
So I could really only think of one, and it's not Broken Heart 2 because I just loved Broken Heart so much. I went into it kind of with the mindset of I want this to be Broken Heart 2, but but this also turned in to a pro, like I said, because it stands alone. Like it doesn't rely on Broken Heart to be a good album musically and spiritually. And it's really the only thing I could think of that was a negative for it, personally. But what did you have for your cons?
So to counter your con, Cooper, I would say that it not being a Broken Heart Part 2 is a big pro for it because while I love Broken Heart, the main thing I love about Broken Heart was the content. And like music, like I think there's a lot of good music to it, but personally I think this musically is a giant step up from Broken Heart. Like he's improved so
Oh
much
yeah,
his sound, you know? Like ninth grade, Cold Nights, Where the Love Go, the intro, like all this stuff, like it's a huge step up for me personally, like in the sound, with keeping that really good content of Broken Heart. So like, I think if you would have kept with Broken Heart Part 2, I think the album would have been near as good as it was, especially because, like what you said, I think didn't you say it was a pro with being broken, not being Broken Heart
yeah.
Part
It's
2?
a pro and a con to me.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't want to reiterate what you just said. I just realized, but yeah, is the only con you have though?
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of
Yeah,
while
I'm really
listening through it.
surprised because I didn't talk to you too much about it. But from what I first originally talked to you, I thought you were going to give it a lot more cons because I thought you were underwhelmed. But anyways, okay, apparently not. Okay, so for me, the main con I have is We Against the World. Um, well, it's not
Really?
necessarily a bad song. It's definitely the worst song on the project, in my opinion. Like I think the beat's kind of nice, not gonna lie, and I think it's pretty catchy. I get it stuck in my head, but like I don't know, there's something about it that's just off, and it's really weird because I think it's the only time I can think of that Andy Mineo went on a song and it made it worse. You know what I mean? I was not a fan of Andy's verse very much, but like that's all personal preference. But like Way Against the World just didn't fit as much to me. But so that's pretty much the only con I have. But something else I wanted to bring up, that's not necessarily a con at all, but it's not a pro, so I didn't really know where to put it. Um, so Nothing Without Jesus, I think that song, which is the second to last song, it adds a lot to the album, and I think it was great when you listen to it with the album. Although it's a song I would never add to queue or add to a playlist. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the talking. A lot of times songs with like talking like that aren't as good for just singles, which isn't a
Yeah.
bad thing because it fits really good with the album and it adds a lot to the album. But personally, like I can only really listen to that song with the album, if that makes sense. So not a pro, not a con, kind of indifferent. Just a thought I had. So Cooper, with all that stuff being said, do you have anything else you want to say about the album?
I don't think so. I think I touched on my thoughts. You?
Yeah, so my final thoughts, just kind of recap what I said, is like in the end, this is like a great debut album for like within CHH. It's one of the better debut albums, I think, personally. We'll see if I say that in a few years still, but
Yeah.
I think this album displays Hulvey's heart for God in a way that doesn't sacrifice the sound, if that makes sense. It's like you can play it at youth groups really easily and it still sounds good. Like it's not like he's going for that youth group crowd, but like just by talking about Jesus, if that makes sense. But like he still makes really good sounding music in his own way. So I can't wait to see what Hulvey brings in the future. As far as this debut album, like I can't wait to see, in 2024, just in a few years. But like I can't wait to see what he's doing then, because like just from how we've seen him evolve, it's gonna be really dope. So Cooper, what would you give this out of 10?
I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. I think, like you said, it's just a really good album, but it did have like some very slight things that took a couple points off. But other than that,
I would agree. I give it 8 out of 10 as well. Kind of like what I said. I think it deserves it. I think it's super dope. But yeah. So be sure to let us know your thoughts of Christopher, what songs you liked and you enjoyed the most, what you'd give a rating out of 10, whatever it may be. Be sure to leave that in the comments. Seriously, like comments are super encouraging to us. I love reading them. I love seeing, yeah, it's just, I love when you guys comment.
Facts.
And be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to share this with your friends. We got to get to 100 subs so we can give away that piece of merch. As well as follow us on our socials, @CHH Hysteria everywhere. Until next time.